Well, baby, you've been on my mind. I think about you all the time. Oh, I want to see your face.
My company stuff at the Phoenician, I just love it there. It's just really hot. Maybe because I'm old and I was younger there, but it's just always hot.
Well, they were having a round of humidity that was uncommon for this time. Yes, in Phoenix. Like we're talking like 60% humidity.
Awesome. On top of the heat?
On top of the heat. It was
And
intense.
you're talking Louisiana, Houston.
Yeah.
Like I was even like, we got some humidity.
But let's talk about Matt, because last time we didn't get to really talk a lot about Matt. So where are you from?
Originally born in California.
Yeah.
LA.
Couldn't tell by
Is that why you're wearing the Padres
Well, I was
jersey?
born in LA. Mom and dad split up when I was 19 months. Mom went to San Diego. Dad stayed in LA. So I moved with my mom till I was 8.
Okay.
So instant love for San Diego, Padres, all things San Diego. So
got it.
My roots, even though they're kind of LA area, that was high school and all that kind of stuff. My love is definitely SoCal, is definitely San Diego. California kind of sucks as a state now, but San Diego will always.
Well,
I fell in love in San Diego.
I tell anybody the weather.
Yeah.
You can't beat it.
You can't. But I mean, it's come to a point in your life where, weather is why we stay, but it's become such a low important thing that there's so many other things that are
Which is
more
why you
important
leave.
than weather. It's why you leave.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a minute, because I fell in love in San Diego one time.
San Diego.
Stay classy.
We went to San Diego, UT football, in 2000 and in 2001 for the Holiday Bowl.
Yep.
Back-to-back years. We played Oregon and lost in 2000. We played
that.
Washington and won with Major Applewhite.
So that's when you were on the.
That's when I was there.
Yeah.
And so the game
there. You go, that's when you played. He goes, that's when I was there.
That's when I was there. Yeah. So the game is like on December 28th or something like that. And so you get there a week ahead of time. So we had to spend Christmas in San Diego. So we get to we get there and we would have Christmas morning like breakfast, and then we would have Christmas morning practice to get ready for the game. It'd be like our Wednesday practice or whatever, in shorts and shoulder pads and that kind of stuff. And I can remember going out to practice on Christmas Day in shorts and shoulder pads.
Oh yeah.
Like 62 degrees and crisp, and by the end of practice it was 74 and sunny and just gorgeous, just beautiful. So I love San Diego for the weather.
Absolutely.
But why are so many Californians coming to Austin?
It's a great question. It's California as a whole. It's just really tough to make it there. I mean, it's really tough, especially for younger couples who are just starting families and stuff. I mean, when you go to buy your first house and it's 1,600 square feet for $1 million, I mean, you're just in a bad spot. Gas is out of control. Everything, they put a lot of taxes on props, and I mean, it's just everything is taxed. I mean, I've got family out there who's 52, 54% of your paycheck is gone every time.
Jesus. So. Now, do you see the benefit of all that extra tax? I mean, do you feel like there's? No. So what does it all go to?
Don't know. Don't know.
Well,
the politicians, what really did California bad is all the pensions that they have, pensions and stuff. I mean, it just
that gets expensive.
Really expensive.
Because they're paying for people's retirement
100%.
infinitely until they die.
Yep.
And
well, I'll tell you, I think so I've always looked at California in different regions. So different times I've visited, or hell, I did 90 days in Valencia, which is just north of LA. And my company was paying for my apartment. I had a electric car. I was like, this is the greatest place ever. Go down to Sunset almost every night. By the way, I brought Brandon to Sunset, the Rainbow. And listen, I would go see the greatest comedians ever for $25. So it does, like, if stuff's getting paid for, that's cool.
Yeah.
San Francisco, I used to love San Mateo, but that area is out of control now. The one thing that from my friends and also military, have stayed consistent in San Diego. And they're the ones that are still trying to hold on, going, man, it's still tough. So I would say out of all the people that I've met from California that moved to Austin or Texas in general, it's mostly been LA up.
Yeah.
I meant even some Sacramento still hanging in there. But I meant my love for San Diego started when my brother graduated from the Marines. and we flew out there.
Well, yeah, huge Navy town, right? Navy,
Yeah,
Marine.
but
yeah.
Marine, yeah, and I couldn't believe it, and we were able to catch a baseball game there.
Is he at Pendleton?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should know this. But I remember catching a baseball game there, and I'd always loved baseball games. And when I went to that field,
Jack
and,
Murphy, the
and
new one
remember
or
they had one
the
of the
old?
greatest baseball
This
players
had to
ever,
be the
in
old
my
ones.
opinion.
That's Jack Murphy.
Yeah, Tony Gwynn would
Oh,
just
yeah,
he could
that's
just
my guy right there.
so I
that's
would
my
tell
guy.
you, and then being outside, you're like, the weather is amazing.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with it. So then anytime we would have pharmaceutical stuff out there, or anytime I get a chance to go to San Diego, I've never taken just a vacation there, but man, I love it. So when he walked in this morning, of course,
Well,
wearing
yeah,
his
so I was
Padre
going to
jersey.
ask. I don't watch sports
Yeah.
other than the Longhorns.
I know.
Beat OU last
We're
week.
on the we're
OU sucks.
we're on the Tuesday after Red River.
I had a talk with my attorney the other day, one of my attorneys, and like as we were hanging up the Zoom call, he's like, "OU sucks." So, are the Padres? It's playoff time
Today
Are-
is they just beat the Mets in the wild card
and they
round.
weren't supposed
Okay.
to.
They
Oh.
were on the road for 3 straight games.
They had
Beat a
DeGrom,
team who
they
had
had
101
they had Mac- they had-
wins during the regular season, knocked
Okay.
them out. Now they got game 1 tonight.
And
in
so,
LA.
Brandon, why this is
Dodgers.
significant?
Dodgers.
Oh, this is going to be
But
intense.
it's tough because, I mean, they've
Yep.
played 19 times this year, and the
Yep.
Dodgers have beat them 14. They're kind of, the stepchildren of the AFC West. But, man, in baseball, good pitching always beats good hitting
No,
in the playoffs.
not tr- well. What just happened? So
And right
this
now,
has been
the
a
Padres'
first.
arms are
So it's 2 out of 3 on the weekend, and Mets have some of the best. Max Scherzer. It was supposed to be the Mets year.
Yeah.
They've won more games than they ever have.
101.
And man, so great game. Y'all are missing by hands down could be the best young prospect ever playing.
Tatis, throw him in that lineup.
He's taking a little break, but yeah, and I think they're going to beat the Dodgers.
Like-
I hope so.
I really
like
do.
rehab or what?
No, he was doing something
I
stupid
love
in,
how Padre
in
fans
the
say
off
it.
season. He broke his wrist riding a motorcycle.
Oh.
And then he's from Puerto Rico, Dominican. While he was in the off season or rehabbing and all that kind of stuff, he supposedly took some spray for, what was it, mono or something like that, and it had an illegal banned substance in it, so he
performance
80
enhancing.
games.
Oh.
Yep.
And you got to understand, he just
Games.
signed
So
one
when's
of
he
the
back? Is
biggest.
he going to play?
He's
the-
back like 30 games in next year.
Oh, so he's
No,
he's
he-
done. He's like
Oh
done
yeah,
the whole year. Yeah.
That's a big one. But he signed one of the largest deals this last year
At 21.
Man,
at 21
14
years old. Oh, he's a
300
freak.
and like 30 million.
that's
He's a freak.
Crazy.
He's a freak.
That's awesome.
But that's why I'm pulling for the Padres. I'm pulling for the Padres
Okay.
for many reasons. I don't
So
like LA. I'm
is
an
this
Astros
is this
fan.
is it still 3 games
No,
or
it's
is
now
it?
No,
7.
no.
7
Now
games.
you go 7.
Okay.
So they just started this. Anyways, we're getting geeked out in baseball.
Sorry.
But yeah, Padres are starting
Okay. Well,
against the
congratulations
Thank
to your
you.
Padres.
Thank
really
you.
pumped for
Dodgers. And I
you.
hope
Yeah.
you beat the Dodgers.
So-
I'm an
Padres are on
Astros
the
fan.
bench tonight?
So you went to high school in San Diego.
No, LA.
LA.
So I moved to LA area when I was at 8, Simi Valley. It's a
Okay.
little suburb of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Played baseball there. We were I was in the same draft class as Jeter. A-Rod was a year below us.
I think I've heard of those guys. So
Yeah,
Derek,
couple.
Yeah, Derek
Yeah.
Jeter and A-Rod. Yeah.
Alex
So we
Rodriguez.
were the 3rd ranked division, Marmani League in America.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, our division in that Southern California was legit. Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley.
I was gonna say
Ventura
Thousand Oaks is
County,
the one you
all
heard
that.
about.
I mean, legit.
Yeah.
So yeah, my senior year was fun. We had 5 guys get drafted on my team, and yeah, we were a powerhouse.
Now, where did you go right after high school to play?
So I got drafted by the Padres.
No, look at 'em.
I was going to go to University of Reno or Texas.
Uh-huh.
Texas, I really wanted to go to.
and back then, they had a pretty darn good coach.
They
Was,
had a
was
very-
Augie coaching there?
That was it.
Yeah. Dang.
Absolutely. That's where I wanted to go bad. But I had a full ride to Reno, and I had like partial to UT. So
Yeah. They do a lot of those partials.
They do a lot of partials,
Yeah.
and
For
especially
Augie.
in baseball, it's
Yeah.
a lot of
For
partials.
Augie. Why wouldn't they?
So I told my dad, I said, look, one team can draft me and one team only. And
Hold
that's the
on. Wait.
Padres.
Hold on. We talked about gambling earlier.
Yeah.
This is making sense. Where did you end up going?
The Padres.
That boy. Keep
Peoria.
going. Yeah.
So I went to Peoria, Arizona, where you were talking about that was rookie ball. So straight out of high school, I graduated high school, had a
young.
party that night, walked the stage, and the very next morning I was in Peoria
Reporting
for
into
rookie
camp.
ball. Yeah. So it was. I wish I would have went to college, to be honest.
No.
When you're 18 and go straight from being All-American and in the newspaper and everything, and the very next day, everyone is as good or if not better than you.
And they don't speak English.
They don't speak. You just don't know where you stand, right? And you're a lost kid. That's why these kids who come out of school, who are 18, 19 playing in the big leagues, they're freaks.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they are freaks.
Yeah.
I mean, it is not easy to go do that at that age.
The maturation that happens over 4 years of college is a big deal.
It is.
Yeah.
And in baseball, they kind of, and I don't know, I think it's still the rule, which kind of stinks. Like, so for us who got drafted, if I would have went D1, I would have had to wait till after my sophomore year to get drafted again. Guys like us, either they get drafted or they go JUCO.
Yep.
And California has their own JUCO system. It's the country, junior college, and then California has their own system.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that a lot of people go to junior college so they can get drafted again the freshman year, get drafted again, or they could go D1.
Because you can re-enter the draft.
Yep. So it's just kind of – so if you go D1, I mean, the good news is you're there for 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why those LSU teams those years, man,
Oh, they were
Skip,
so good.
they were freaks, man.
Yeah.
So how far did you get up?
I had single A. So I was 2 years
boy.
with the Padres, got released 1 year with the Angels, and that was it. And I just knew. I knew at 21 that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, you
look
knew.
around, you go like, wait.
You just know, man.
Jeff
You just
Bagwell's
know. I was
playing
very
first
late
base.
mature. You know I have a decent size now, but I mean,
You're handsome.
I
handsome.
grew 11 inches my senior year.
What?
So between junior and I was 5'7".
So you
going into
you
senior
had
year.
Osgood Slaughters in your back and knee? Osgood Slaughters is when you grow. No joke. You can look it up. Yeah. Like, because I grew 6 inches between my 7th and 9th grade year and then 2 more inches. Man, I had to wear a brace. I mean, I had to get them drained.
I had always had bad knees. I was also a catcher, too. So
I was going to ask. So
yeah,
you
I was a
okay.
catcher. So,
Yeah. So then what? So you
and
finished
then
baseball?
I knew at 21 that it was time to. My dad's a big businessman. I knew I wanted to go to. So I went to Chico State, Northern California.
Another great,
I loved that area.
great baseball.
Great baseball.
God dang.
I tried to get my eligibility back. Actually wrote the commissioner asking, but I had too many at bats as a professional, so they wouldn't let me play at Chico.
What was your
you made A-ball? You made the roster of A-ball?
What was your
you couldn't.
at-bat percentage
Hold
I
on.
was not good.
as a professional?
Well,
Probably less
hold
than
on.
200.
Hey,
I don't even know if I hit the Mendoza
Brandon,
line.
we call that a batting average.
Yeah.
Batting average, that's what I meant.
The Mendoza line.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
even
like,
know
so
if I
when you
hit
played sports ball.
Yeah.
that. And the runs, not points.
Yeah.
I love it.
How many points did you score?
So, no, hey, Mendoza?
How many home hits did you have?
No, I know.
Home hits. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so it was unfortunate. I mean, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was
I
fate.
disagree.
I mean, I told my dad only one team could draft me, and I'll go. Besides that, I'm going to school. And I tried out at Jack Murphy Stadium.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
it was like the year Bobby Bonds Jr. There were some big
Yeah.
names there, and I got drafted.
Man, that's awesome.
So I'll tell you, as someone who didn't in your position and chose the other route, I mean, what a great experience. I
It
mean,
was tremendous.
It geeks me out, right? And guys like me go, man, I want to hear, like, when we get off here, man, I'm going to go, you got to tell me some good ones.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody, like, we had your buddy Ryan on.
Ryan Kohlmeyer.
He tells the best, he made the pros, but hearing his stories, man, and the ones he told us off air, he wouldn't let us,
Yeah.
put stuff out there.
There's many things that I won't say.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just great.
Yeah.
And it's life.
No,
and
it's great. And how I always think it, look, I'm in a very, very good place in my life. I've got an amazing partner, and it sounds cheesy, but everything I've ever done in my life has led me to where I am right now.
I agree. It
So,
led you right to us
Yeah.
today,
I
mean,
on the pod.
There you go.
At the
So,
OC.
Yeah, it's one of those sliding door moments. Had I gone to college instead of gone minor leagues, I probably never met my wife. I'd probably be in a different place, and
Right.
what have you. So
Well, I'll tell you, I knew you from afar.
Yep.
When I was with Phillips, and had nothing but respect for you.
And that was my bad. Let me say something real quick. So
Oh, here
I've
we
always seen people as competition, where he likes that. I've always seen it like, why do I need to be buddies with people like that on Respironics and stuff? And the more I went down to the valley and, oh, are you Matt Allard? And we're just getting crossed and Rose Batenhurst and everything. It came to a point where it's like, dude, this cat is cool, man. I don't care if he works at Respironics or not. So it was funny because every time I went to the valley, everyone thought I was you.
Yeah.
Always. Always.
Well, and that just tells you how much trouble I got. No, but no, I really mean that. One of the conversions I had in my life, I've had many, right? But I can remember thinking, why do I need to burn bridges? Makes no sense.
You're an early I mean, sex change that early is
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
look at me.
Yeah.
Filled out.
Yeah.
Testosterone.
big
and all.
time. Worked well.
But, why did burn
Man, you
bridges?
had that long ago? What's
then-
going on today? You're a revolutionary, man.
Feeling pretty good. I should have gotten Man of the Year or Woman of the Year by ESPN. But no, I will tell you that. And then I always looked at because my whole life was in competition. My whole life. You get this. How many friends did you have, and maybe you didn't, that played on other teams, that played on other, it's a small fraternity of dudes. I will be flying somewhere. I travel quite a bit, and I'll run into somebody. They'll go, Allard? Because my big ears or whatever. And it's just, I just always felt that way.
Yep.
And I don't know if I was taught it from my father or whatever, but I always respected you from afar, and I respected your work ethic. And this is the reason why, Matt. When people would ask me about you or say that you're in there, just like with other companies, that means you're working. The worst thing you could get is to never hear about me. Like if we would have met and you'd have been like,
Who are you?
Matt Allard?
Yeah.
You were in that territory?
Never heard
so
of you.
it's a sense of pride for me that, I know I'm out working or working equally with my competition. So I think
And
that's
to that point, I take great pride in that. It was about a month and a half ago. I was in the VA in Harlingen,
Yeah.
and there was I forget her name, but she was from Respironics. She's now with First Nation Group.
Okay.
So they're doing First Nation Groups who sells all the product to the VA. And after the meeting, she came up and she said, "So you're Matt Goebel, huh?"
Nice.
And I said, "I am." And I said, Do I know you or what have you? She said, "I worked at Respironics. We know you very well."
Yeah.
To me, that was like, that's
No, it's
Yeah.
true.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's
It's
true.
exactly what I want to hear.
And I will tell you, First Nation, by the way, that's good.
Yeah.
That whole VA system's pretty awesome too.
Yep.
It's unique as opposed to every other place that in the state of Texas, at least, VAs. So
Yeah.
Harlingen, McAllen, all that. Do you still go down to Laredo?
All the time.
Love it. So
I
that
love
was
covering
the
the
other
VA
difference.
though. Very humble.
So
Yeah.
watch this.
Very.
This was the other difference. We were the only two gringos that would go down to Laredo. Everybody would stop
Yep.
at Brownsville or stop in Padre. They wouldn't go further down. So that's where I always knew I had business. Except your ass kept showing up.
Yeah.
But it was
I like the food down there too much.
Love
man.
Oh, the food's so good.
I
down
love
there.
Laredo.
Street tacos.
You're on
real
the-
Mexican food.
Oh,
You're
it's
on
the
the
best.
border.
Not Tex-Mex.
Oh, it's
Real
No,
Mexican
you're on
food.
the border.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
trust me.
beautiful.
I grew
Street
up in
tacos.
El Paso, so I know real Mexican
Oh,
food.
El
Yeah.
Paso's, L&J's.
So, take us back though. Like, what was your journey into the sleep world?
Or sales, yeah.
Or,
'Cause you said
sales,
business with
sleep.
your dad.
Yeah.
Sales was going to be. My dad was a salesman, so I either was going to be the starting center fielder, catcher, what have you, for the Padres,
Yeah.
or I was going to be a salesman. There was just no other
Yeah.
route that I was going to go.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I knew that it was time for me to go. I went to Chico State. Really bad stuff happened there with family. So I transferred to Texas, North Texas.
Denton.
Denton. Lost a bunch of credits in doing so from California to Texas.
Got it.
Next thing I know, I'm 25, a junior in college, and said, I'm done. I just want to go work. So I started off my career, and it started with EAS Sports. And I went from there, Body for Life, Myoplex, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and just found my niche. And getting into sleep,
I love that.
when you're from San Diego, everyone knows about ResMed. Everybody.
Well, yeah.
You don't know what ResMed is. They consistently every year win best business to go work for locally, nicest facility, everyone. So I had a buddy named Nick Winlow, who I think you remember from Narval, who joined ResMed and said, we want you to come on over. And I said, I know ResMed, but what the hell is sleep apnea? What is this? And
Wow.
took the journey, took the dive in, and now 10 years into sleep, I can't imagine anywhere else.
So literally, no knowledge of sleep apnea.
No, the only
until
thing I
Narval.
knew about sleep apnea before Narval was Reggie White. That's the only
Okay.
thing I had
Got
ever
it.
known
Yeah.
was one of the greatest players of all time died of something called sleep apnea.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what a CPAP was. I
Okay.
didn't know what an MRD was. I didn't know any of that. And then they take you through pretty gnarly training at ResMed.
They do a
And
great
at first
job.
I was like, I'm lost, man.
Yeah.
What is this? This is crazy. But 10 years later, I love it.
So when I started, and this is interesting because you're kind of opposite. You went CPAP and then transitioned into oral devices. You went oral devices and transitioned into CPAP. So I want to hear a little bit about that because in a way, CPAP is my biggest competitor.
Yep.
Not really, but in a way, I would say it's not the other oral devices, it's not the other dentists, or it's all that. It's all the patients that are going on CPAP by far. And you probably would have these statistics. You may, but you're not as smart. How many people are prescribed a CPAP, in the United States annually versus how many people are prescribed an oral device? You have any numbers?
We have a percentage. So we always look at the percentage. Right now we have 9% of the market, was 9% of the market
Oral
share.
Devices.
As 9% of the share
That's it? 9?
of OSA.
So 91% is going to either CPAP or surgery,
But that has
or
changed.
or
Inspire,
positional,
yeah.
or Excite.
But that
Worksite.
has changed. And I want to say the newest statistics, because we just had something published, I want to say we're up to like 12.
Okay.
And that's all oral devices.
And that's all oral devices.
Yep.
So coming into
That's
this,
hot.
and the really cool thing about ResMed was what I was excited about with Narval is physicians knew ResMed.
Yep.
So
They loved sleep physicians.
sleep physicians knew ResMed. They know ResMed.
Loved.
Physicians know ResMed. They know CPAP. They know ResMed. And so when we would go in and say, well, we use this oral device and it's made by ResMed, it's like, their ears perked up. It's like, oh, ResMed. They know it. It's familiar. It was almost like we were able to kind of get in and get some of that conversation going a little bit easier with physicians. What happened with the Narval? Because I was using a lot of Narval.
Yep.
They were comfortable. They were lightweight. They had the ResMed name. We were getting physicians based on that relationship.
And real quick, and Matt, you were there when it switched, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is where I'll throw ResMed under the bus.
Well,
you guys know that
yeah.
it's going to happen because there's still a little bitterness there. You guys know that I love ResMed.
I know.
And I will always live. No matter where I go, I always consider myself a ResMedian. What really kind of pissed me off about ResMed with Narval is they bought a seed, they planted the seed, and then didn't feed it.
Okay.
What they just thought was that this thing was, well, we don't really know what we have here, what have you. The hard part with Narval was that it would only go on like 10% of your patients, right? There was limitations to Narval.
Yeah.
What ResMed really needed and what we wanted ResMed to do was to buy True Function. We wanted them to buy True Function, have Frank run True Function.
Yep.
So you had Narval, you had a dorsal, you had option A, B, C, D. Right?
Herbst.
So
yeah.
then Herbst, you have all of it. So then when I can go promote you to my sleep physicians, no matter what device they're going on, it's going to go on our ResMed device.
Right.
Got it.
We had visions of growing visions of growing the division to a 30, 40, $50 million division, and to a ResMed that's just not big enough.
Right.
It's kind of like, we're a multi-billion-dollar company.
So ResMed does what, $7 billion a year in CPAPs?
No, they're probably two.
No, I do
billion?
have a question on that.
Yeah.
So then I was kind of curious then, they still sell it all over the world except North America.
So they did not sell it.
Yeah.
People wanted to come buy it, and they did not sell it because they own the rights in Europe, France. It's made in France, and they dominate in Europe.
Yeah.
And
I
they
mean,
still
Narval
do. They're
dominates in
still, remember that percentage over there versus CPAP is crazy.
So now Narval, for me, it was just like the rug was pulled out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like one day I was ordering Narvals and placing Narvals on patients, and like literally the next day it was like an email that said you can no longer do this.
Wow.
Which is interesting because I kind of got the same letter for all of my ApneaLink Air devices recently, which was like one day I had a whole bunch of them and I was ordering them regularly, and the next day I was like, sorry, we're not doing that shit anymore.
So Matt, on your side of it, does like a corporation, and people will dig this because a lot of salespeople watch this, like you just humming along, like there was no warning and you got like that call like, hey, we're having a business meeting on Friday or 3 o'clock?
So I had actually left for the core side about a year, 9 months to a year before they pulled the plug on it.
Okay.
So I'd already made the jump.
To the CPAP.
Yes,
So you call it the core
I loved
side?
where I was at ResMed, but I was really frustrated with Narval division. I
Got
was
it.
very
Wow,
frustrated.
so you kind of...
I jumped ship. I went to my team and I said, look, guys, I love you guys. I love what we're doing. We're family, all of us, but I can't keep going in a division where I see they're just not going to help us at all.
You kind of saw the rise.
I saw it coming.
Wow.
I saw it because there was just no investment from ResMed. There was no I mean, they didn't even include us in anything. It was just kind of like, you guys are the redhead stepchildren. And we really thought we could do some really good stuff. They pulled commission from the core reps on Narval and a whole bunch of stuff. And I just saw it coming. And I didn't want to leave ResMed. I loved it there. I loved everything we stood for and what have you. So I made my way to the core side, the CPAP side.
CPAP, yeah.
Now, okay, let's talk about that. So whenever you do that switch, because I've done that in company or been promoted or whatever, what I always try to tell people, great practice is whoever that new person is coming in, were you able to do the introductions, or did you just go to your customer and say, listen, I'm going to be going a whole different direction? How did you handle that? Because you're still with the company.
Yep.
Just a different division.
How did we handle that?
How did we?
He was one of my big clients.
I think
back
you
then.
called me.
I think I did.
I think you called me and
said, I'm
hey,
leaving, and this could be a
just
good thing because we could start marketing on
wanted
the
to
other
let you know
side,
I'm going to be doing CPAPs now, and but I'll toss your name out there, and we can maybe work together. And
one of the things I really wanted to do is when I was on the Narval side, we knew the triangle with like the dentist, the physicians, the sleep labs, how that should all work, right?
Absolutely.
That was a big movement with Narval, was how do we make it work? But then it came to the kickbacks and all that kind of stuff. So we can never make it work. So when I went to the core side, it was like, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make that triangle work. And that was my promise to y'all, to Kent Smith, to a bunch of dentists, is that we're going to make this work. And after about 4 months of trying it, I just saw my core side doesn't want any side of that either.
Yeah.
Well, I was in this influx of what do I do here, right?
It's
I
funny.
love the dental sleep market, but there's no help on my side for it.
And Matt, again, I go, I don't look back. I don't have regrets. But then y'all get Brightree.
Yep.
And I'm like, this. Do you know what Brightree is?
No.
Okay, so let me just simplify it. Dan it. I'm going to Dan it. Watch this. Every single patient who's ever been on a CPAP is in this history.
Okay.
So you
like
get
a database.
an amazing database, and ResMed bought it ethically, legally. Now, if they would have had the Norval, you would have seen every single failure, or someone who's non-compliant, or someone's AHI is 30. I mean, it would have been. Wonder why I'm still friends with ResMed.
well,
so I mean, it's just there's the try. There it is.
Yep.
Sleep lab information. Every single person on a ResMed machine, and watch this. Not only ResMed machines, Brightree is used by all
other CPAPs as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
It's crazy.
but from a sales standpoint, how was that switch for you going from walking into all these places and saying, nobody's wearing their CPAP?
See, I never
try
did
it.
Oh,
You
no.
should try it.
never did that.
You should try
No.
it
When
in
he
Narval.
went in,
I never did that.
Yeah.
See, I was always the guy that if I walked into a dental office and you were bashing CPAP, we were going to have a big conversation.
Not going to bash
But
CPAP.
even if it was, I didn't like the marketing of, can you not tolerate your CPAP? I didn't like any of that
Okay.
because there's no reason to go there. There's just none. So I was never a guy, my 3 years at Narval, who ever had a bad thing to say about CPAP, ever. Because like you were talking about earlier, man, the bad thing about our industry, we don't have enough options. We really do not have enough options.
Well, we're getting
and that's
there.
why I love Excite, right? It's like going into Best Buy and telling a guy, I want a new TV, and he's like, here's your 2 options.
Yeah.
Right? So
Kinky Friedman used to call that.
hey, love Kinky.
Yeah. So do you remember when Kinky ran for Gov?
Dang right.
So do you remember when Kinky
No.
ran for Gov? So do you know who
Kinky
Kinky Friedman
Friedman,
is?
boys.
No.
Oh
The
boy,
legendary
Texas Jew boy.
singer, hillbilly,
Yeah.
writer, author.
Yeah. Author. He's got some good books.
He's a saint.
Yeah, he's you'd like him. He's always got a cigar. Always wearing black. Cowboy
mustache.
hats, always
Man in black,
mustache
I love
boot.
it.
And there was one point in time, and he used to be a part of the Texas Jew Boys. It was a band, right?
Yep.
And he decides he's going to run for governor of Texas, but as an independent. And in Texas, you can't run unless you get enough signatures.
Right.
And so he would be out there, and he'd be like, the only options in politics are paper and plastic. We need more options. It's
true.
Be all that.
it's true.
It's true. But I think it goes back to what you were saying. So, and I geek out on this stuff so much. Brendan said we were the opposite, right? But it's true. He was in a different time. So when oral devices, notice I say that, when you were selling them, man, it was kind of few and far between. You had TAP, which is OG, Keith Thornton came out with it, and it's still out there. And then you guys were kind of the new ones on the block, but there wasn't much going on. AADSM and AASM were still kind of friendly,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Around the time you guys got rid of Norvell, ResMed was jumping. I meant when he was there, they
Yeah.
were the height. So when I came into Phillips, we were, at least my territory was down.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like when I came to SomnoMed, full
Yeah.
disclosure. I came in, I was like, starting it here, only place to go is up. But when he was with ResMed, man, it was pumping. So I don't think there was any discussion. And you tell me if I'm wrong, because I remember I'd have to go try to convert people from ResMed to now Phillips was Respironics. They're like, no, we're good.
Yeah, I joined ResMed
We're
in
good.
2013, and in my
Yep.
training, they trained us on AirView. This whole new
Yep.
thing called AirView was just
Game
coming out.
changer.
And then like 2 years later, I think it was 15 or 16,
That's
they
when I
bought
came in.
Brightree.
Yep.
And when we had AirView and Brightree together,
Gosh.
it was domination. It was over.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
done.
for me to get business, it was hilarious.
Lower
I mean,
price.
But I will tell you, it taught me how to, it really honed my sales. Now,
Yeah, of course.
I had come from selling chemicals in the oil field, so nothing was going to, but man, it was,
How
it
did you
was
get
fun.
into sleep?
1999, when I got married to Kel, we couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And she was losing hair. She was on 8 different meds. She thought she was having some psychosis, and found out she wasn't breathing. And her airway was really tiny. She was a small girl, had it, her chin was inverted. Found out, we did a sleep study with the neurologist, said, man, why don't you come in and do this in-lab thing? We're like, what is this? And obviously, if your spouse is going through something, we really think it affected us not being able to have children. Kelly got on a CPAP and boom. Now, back then, and I tell this story and I asked her permission, back then to wear a CPAP, they were just straight up blowers.
Oh, yeah.
And doctors would give you Valium at night to take it because there was no ramp up,
Yeah.
there was no ease, there was none of these things. But in 2005, I met an amazing surgeon from Stanford. I was working in Dallas for Force Pharmaceuticals. Really geeked out into the Stanford way of doing things, and Kelly had the full facial surgery, myofacial reconstruction, chin implant. We have my daughter in 2005, and Mia has the exact same. Mia's on it for hers and has been for over 3 years now. And eventually she'll have to have the surgery. So I've always been involved in sleep. My mother had COPD. And so I was always geeked out. But when I actually started selling is a personal story where I ended up becoming a single father. And I needed to be home every night. And some great friends of mine worked for a company called Respironics. And they said, man, you ought to come work for us. You would be great. And one was in Oklahoma, one was in Louisiana. They had an opening in Houston. And so went to the interview with Ben Kitchen, who I absolutely love. And he's like, I got these letters of recommendation, so I'm going to hire you, but we can't pay you what I said. And I'll never forget this. I go, can I be home every night? And I didn't give him my story. He goes, well, yeah, you home every night? So I went and got an apartment in Houston. Mia moved in with me. It started 2015 is when I started with Phillips. So
You're a good
that's how
daddy. I
got-
love that.
Yeah.
And
You sure are.
3 years, I got the period. I got the first bra.
Oh boy.
I got the first heartbreak.
I can't imagine. I have all boys. I can't
But it was
imagine
it was special, and we're closer than ever. And my ex-wife's healthy now.
Good.
Everything's good. She had a
Good.
medical condition, and so yeah, Mia's in Louisiana. But I've been passionate about sleep for a long time and breathing as an ex-athlete, and as someone who I just always promoted it. My damn mom, has COPD. It inspired my brother to become an RT, so he's the lead RT, Memorial Hermann in Houston. So, yeah. And then when I got recruited to go to SomnoMed, my current company, I was kind of out of sleep. I got laid off with the last big layoff with Phillips because I was last one in, first one out. They gave me a hell of a paycheck to leave, and I became director of managed care for Shield Healthcare. That's when I was in Valencia.
Yeah.
And covered the nation. And then this thing called COVID happened. And then I got reached out to by a crazy little Jewish man who I love by the name of Louis Myers, and a monotone New Jersey guy by the name of Matt Conlon. And they said, man, our company is not where it needs to be. We heard some good things about you. Come take a look and tell me what you think. Just kind of like almost a contract deal. And I came in and was like, woo. But this could make it go. And they hired me. And within a month, I met Brandon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so that's how I got
That's
into
awesome.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
so let's get back to
To our guest.
our guest.
Yeah. Remember, we get confused all the time.
I love your story, but let's get back to the Goebel.
But you've heard it like
I have a couple times.
On 40 different podcasts.
Yeah, even our guests are like, okay, when does he talk about? Dan, put that in there. Like Matt talks about himself again.
Yeah. Minute number 48. Thank you. Hey, are these sanitized? Because I've touched my lips twice to it. Okay.
Hey, old habits die hard.
Just put the whole thing in.
Old habits die hard.
So things were kicking out. You were kicking ass at ResMed.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Big time.
Things were going good.
He's killing me.
Killing me. You got the technology. You got the people. What brought about you leaving ResMed? Why did you leave ResMed? Did you leave ResMed? Was it a layoff? What was the situation to get to where you are now? Because I do want to get back into what we're doing now and what we're doing with our patients now.
So that's a great question. Never had an intention of leaving ResMed ever. I found home for sure. I was making great strides. I was promoted 4 times, President's Club in 3 different divisions. The thing that came about was this little company named Signifier. And it started in January of 2021, where a rep named Tracy Chamberlain left. And Tracy was an absolute legend.
Stud.
Legend.
Yeah.
And she left for this company where Lori Bellis, who was a 16-year ResMedian, Matt Sherris, who was a 15-year ResMedian,
all top
Sean Lawler, who was a 12-year ResMedian, had all left for Signifier.
So Signifier was poaching ResMed.
Pretty much. Well, it was Matt Sherris, because Matt Sherris, stud that he was the VP of sales. He grew this company from ground zero and said, I know who to go get.
And listen, if you're going to go for sleep,
go for it.
You're going to go. They went for the top of the top.
That's awesome.
I never got a call.
So Pete Babros is a rep in LA who had been in ResMed 16 years. Won President's Club like 6 times, Chairman Award winner, 16 straight years of hitting his quota. He quit to go to Signifier. I couldn't believe it. Called Pete, congratulations. Where the hell is this Signifier? What are you guys doing? You guys crazy? And next thing you know, they came calling for me. And it was one of those things, as you know, as a sales rep, kind of your dream always in sales is to start at the bottom, get some share, get some equity. Hopefully I'm working for the next Nike and I'm on bottom floor with shares and everything. And with the team that they built and the vision that they had and everything, I had to do it.
Yeah.
It was a very, very sad day. I mean, like I told you guys, I will always consider myself a ResMedian. Always. I freaking love ResMed, but it was something I had to do. So I had to go see what it was like.
Kudos to you, because this is something that I think people struggle with. And I know a lot of dentists, and I'm just going to, this is when I harp on dentists. I know a lot of dentists that are stuck, and what they struggle with in getting into sleep is that they're comfortable.
Yep.
And so to leave something you're comfortable with, to move on for a bigger opportunity or growth, that's very entrepreneurial-like, and that's kind of where I see, that aspect of things. But that's a big deal.
It is.
To be really comfortable, know everything, and then leave for what some people could say would be a really big risk.
Very big risk.
Yeah.
And right now, it's still a big risk.
Well,
Okay.
hold on. You're talking to somebody who has an entrepreneurial spirit that's a salesperson. Remember, he said, if I'm not playing baseball, I'm going to be sales. And you got to understand, I'm going to use another analogy. This is an all-star lineup. Like, I'm joke that I didn't get the call. So these guys are the best of the best in sleep from around the country. So
what was that like? First of all, like, do you
he was probably honored to get picked.
Do you have... Is there not like a non-compete or some kind of contractual deal
way different
with ResMed that?
Yeah, there probably is, but I mean, honestly, Excite is not really a competitor to CPAP.
And we live in
It's not
Texas.
a competitor to MRDs.
Okay.
Excite's business model is, look, we're just giving your patients another option.
Okay.
Right? We have been told from day one, do not go poke the CPAP bear because we don't need to.
Yeah.
That's not our business model. Like you just said, look how massive MRDs are, 12% of the business.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? If Excite could capture 5% of the business, we're
5% of the whole
whole worldly business from Australia to China to you name it.
And I've always said this to Matt, even when I saw him at Kent Smith's thing almost a year ago, right? Was like, I see a place. Like, but y'all know me. I work with everybody. But I definitely see a place. Brandon is using it. Kent Smith is using it. I mean, these guys that we respect. But I'm telling you, it's
Yeah, because
And
again,
I've
going
used
back to what we said is patients need more options.
They need more options.
They need more options. There's
Yep.
got to be other stuff out there.
Because even as a man who loves oral appliances, not 100% of your patients are going on it. As a guy who really loves CPAP, I know 100% of my patients aren't going on
and as
CPAP.
a guy who really likes
There's
masturbation,
got to be other options.
I mean,
There just has.
as a guy who,
So is the team still intact? Is Signifier still have all the people that left ResMed? Is everybody still there?
One has left.
Okay.
One has departed.
How come?
I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I guess? No, I'm kidding.
It's unfortunate though. It's unfortunate.
So what do you think now? You're in this a year.
Yep.
1 year pretty much, right?
Yep.
A
Year and a half.
Yeah,
year and a half. Okay.
Year and a half.
So year and a half with Signifier.
Yep.
What have you seen over the last year and a half? What's the progress that you think you're making? What needs to happen more?
We need a lot more. We launched.
Let's
in my
celebrate
opinion-
first. What's to celebrate?
We're celebrating. We're crushing. I mean,
Okay.
we're doing well. But the problem with us is I think that we launched too soon. If it was me, I would have probably waited till we have a bunch of data that's coming out.
Okay.
We're trying to get reimbursement. There's a lot of things.
Codes.
We have a lot of speed bumps in the road
Yeah.
that we have to overcome. It's a cash pay and a bad recession or a bad economy or what have you. There's a lot of things that we need to overcome. But the thing with Excite that's awesome is that there's a there. When it works on a patient, it works,
Yeah.
and it's freaking fantastic. It's just we need to learn who does it work on, right? Bioimpedance, we need phenotyping, we need snore monitor. There's a lot of things that we need to keep this thing going, but there's definitely a there.
So what are you seeing with because the early studies came out and I
Yep.
think it was mild and snoring only. 83% or something like that of people were having success and seeing results. You guys have been doing more studies. What's the new data showing us?
What I think we're going to find is that our dosage is not right, and the more you use this at a higher frequency and the longer you use it, the better results you're going to have.
Okay, meaning longer. Because
Like say
this
instead
is
of
a
20 minutes in a
neuromuscular
day,
stimulator.
right? So instead of 20 minutes a day, if you can up that to like 40.
Yeah.
So we did. Dr. Atul Malhotra is doing a study on moderate for us, and he's doing 40 minutes a day rather than 20 minutes a day, and we're seeing really good results. So that's another thing that I wish we would have waited for before we launched was like, is this the really 20 minutes? Is that the correct dosage? Because what I think is, and you guys know this, going to the gym, it's great to go to the gym for 20 minutes and do cardio. It's
Yep.
even better to do cardio for 20 and go hit the weights for 20, right?
100%.
So
Now-
I would like to see this device to where I'm compliant at 20 minutes, but I have the ability to wear it for 40, 50, 60 if I have the time during the
So
day.
as you increase that number, though,
Yep.
my concern would be you're gonna see less compliance. You're gonna see patients that won't.
Maybe.
That's just my
I
concern.
would agree with that.
That
Yep.
as you start to increase that requirement, if it's an option, you'll have patients that are kind of like, yeah, I'm going to do extra, like the go-getters, right?
Yep.
The ones
Yep.
that are really into their, that are bought in, that are into their healthcare and that are optimizing. The biohackers are going to do 40 because if you say do 20, they're going to say double it. It's better.
Thank you.
Yep.
So,
Right.
well, I want to cut you off. Think about it. There's a stigma about depression, right? And when I sold Lexapro, right, we would always say, we can only talk about what we're indicated for.
You still
But-
have some of that?
What's that?
You still have some of that?
No, I don't. but I've been on it in the last few years. But I will tell you that they start off at 5. They check in. Hey, we need to up it to 10.
Yep.
And they'll do it. So compliance is also a gradual. So I'm just giving you my matism. Is that by starting with 20, it's doable. If we just start off saying 40, then I think you're right. But if somebody starts off with 20, they check in with their doctor or their dentist, their sleep dentist, and go, man, I'm getting some results. We just did an HIT. I'm not snoring as much.
Yeah.
Up it up 10 more minutes. Up it up 10. So I think it's almost gradual, just like the gym. You don't take someone who doesn't go to the gym and go 40 minutes. Hey,
So
let's
to
start
this
off.
point, let me add this on. So, and to kind of go where you were, what if we had a snore monitor that was showing you from day one,
Yep.
you're snoring for 200 minutes, and 10 days into it, you're down to 160 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
So you're
seeing
seeing
that progress.
progress.
You're
Yeah.
seeing it, and it's making you just like the gym,
Well-
right? The first time you look in the
Yep.
mirror and go, "Oh my
This-
God, I see my abs." You want to go.
Well, I
more,
saw his
right?
abs
I
this
know
morning.
You did. That's
You
why I
do
said
look
it.
great,
Yeah, you
dude.
did. Thank you, man.
You really
Appreciate
do.
I guess they were
Appreciate
spooning
you.
this morning or
Yeah.
something.
No, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
So speaking of my abs, I'm kidding. So, and why do you not have the snore monitor? Is this because Snore Lab exists?
Yep.
And it works great.
Yep.
And my patients use it, but it's another app,
Yep.
right? And so the tracking of that over time, I can tell you when I was using Excite, I saw results. I saw
me
my
too.
Snore Lab come down, over time, and so that was. For me, that was one of the positive things. I was like, yeah, let's use this on patients.
And I had great
let's try this
positive.
on
I
patients.
have testimonials from a few people, very much successful. So thank you guys for giving me that. I
Well,
really appreciate that.
and I will and we.
Seriously.
I don't know how many patients we do a handful a month of patients because I will tell you every mild patient that comes in our office, and if you're a dentist treating this and you're not using Excite, you need to contact Matt.
I agree.
Because
Thank you.
I got Matt in touch with some people
yeah.
just the other day.
because it is an option. And so if you have somebody who's snoring only and your choice is a $2,000 or $3,000 device versus a $900, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell what we should charge or shouldn't charge, $1,000, what do you charge?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
$8 million.
Matt gives them to me for like $50, so I just upcharge the fuck out of it. So,
Not true.
so just tell Matt I sent you.
Yeah.
But every single snoring patient and
Yeah.
every single mild patient gets told, here are your options. If you don't want CPAP, we have the Excite and we have the oral device.
Right.
And here's how this works and here's how this works. We have I say we have a daytime device and a nighttime device. Which one?
Oh, I like that.
Which one do you want to work with? Which one do you want to try first?
Hold on.
Because if
I
this
like
doesn't
that.
work,
So let's say they get up in the morning, if they're wearing an oral device and they're kind of dressed. Is that when they would use it? Because, I mean, people work.
well, no, this is people who don't have a device.
Okay.
So this is people
Because you
so-
said
so-
morning and night. I'm
no,
sorry.
I say daytime and nighttime. Because
I wanna use
So you
combination,
can wear
man.
this for 8 hours a night.
Right.
And here's what we know about it, and here's how it works. Or you can wear this for 20 minutes a day.
Gotcha.
And you just have to find a time to be consistent about it.
But
Wear
what
20
you were
minutes a day.
saying,
I love
that's where I want to
combination,
go,
man.
is the
Me
more
too.
research that comes in,
So,
conjunction therapy.
100%. I think.
If
so
I have
I like
an
his
HI
words
28,
better.
let's see if this
I'm saying
will knock you down to
combination.
13.
He's saying
I
conjunction.
would love,
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
I can, we had this conversation in Beverly Hills. If I could get an insurance coverage
Yep.
that on top of my device, I could also bill for one of these for a moderate or severe
100%.
patient, I would put every single patient on both.
Because
So
how
Brandon,
uncomfortable, no
watch me
disrespect
geek him
to
out.
Dr.
Watch me
Thornton.
geek him out. It's like when I sold a CPAP.
Yep.
Then I could sell either a vest, which makes no sense, or a cough assist, same coding, but I could do both.
Yep.
So I could shake
Yeah.
up the bronchial, or I could do a cough assist, and I could do a CPAP.
Yep.
Why should you not be able to? Because one's working on the
Yeah.
muscle. of
I
the
agree.
tongue.
And
Now-
it's no disrespect to Dr. Thornton, but when I was back in my oral appliance days, I thought the MyTap is just terrible, where you're infusing a mask and an oral appliance
I will
together.
tell you-
I mean, it's
The
it's so
tap,
bad.
tap, tap. It's
It's
patients don't want that.
It's so bad. You're going a hard therapy with a hard therapy,
Yeah.
and you're infusing them together.
yeah.
I mean,
patients don't want that. Now, speaking of conjunction
He's
therapy,
gonna
though,
defend it.
speaking of
I'm not
conjunction,
defending.
speaking of combination therapy, speaking of conjunction therapy,
Yeah.
as Goebel just said it, where do you go? How important is nasal breathing?
very,
Incredibly.
extremely.
And so even if you're using the Excite,
Yeah.
I would say you should be breathing through your nose when you're
100%.
sleeping
Yep.
every night.
100%.
Have you heard about airway stents?
No,
Okay. Airway stents.
I might need some because I'm a mouth breather.
Yeah.
I wear a full face mask.
This
I'm a mouth
company
breather.
is from Alaxo, and we are blessed to partner with them. And I'm using this on my patients now as well. And we've seen just really good benefits. And one of the really cool things about airway stents, so what it is, it's a mesh stent that goes into your nose, 2 to 3 inches long. You're a shorter guy probably, so maybe 2 inches, maybe 3. I don't know how long your airway is. I can measure later. But if you put this mesh up there and it has this little tube and you pull it out and then it expands. And it just literally just opens up like a catheter in a heart vessel.
Yep.
And it just opens up the airway. And we've seen MRIs and cone beams that show how much opening they get and how much better they're able to breathe through their nose. The tricky part when I first was looking at this was getting it in. But once you figure that out, it's really golden. And one of the really cool things about airway stents is they have a care team. So when patients, like if you were to prescribe this for your patients, they kind of take over. They'll call the patient, they'll walk them through it. They've got videos, they've got like a support
That's
team.
good.
Much like Excite
Yep.
has that follow-up
Yep.
with patients, they do that as well. And so a shout out to Airway Stents right now, one of our partners. We're using it with our patients. Again, if you're not using it, look into it, because if your patients aren't nasal breathing, you're missing the boat. You've
I'll
got
have
be
to give
nasal
those a
breathing.
try.
Yeah. So check it out. Look into that. But Excite OSA has this kind of similar philosophy of being able to improve patient compliance.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about, like, how does that work when a patient gets on Excite, or if I send a patient to Excite, what are they doing to ensure that the patient's using it?
So as soon as they activate the device, they get an email introduction from a sleep advocate that is going to be their quote-unquote sleep coach for the first phase of the therapy. There's in-app chat features in the app that they can communicate with their sleep coach. They can have daily calls, what have you. But it's essentially just to keep them on track. It's to answer any questions. Yeah, as you guys know, I mean, Respironics charge a lot of money for PAMs. ResMed charges a lot of money for ResMed 360, and that's essentially giving Respironics and ResMed the ability to monitor your patients to keep them compliant.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing all that on the back end for free. The cool part about Excite is that it's built digitally. It's a digital platform where Respironics and ResMed want to go to the digital platform. That's where we built our company, is digital. So we can do all that kind of stuff pretty easy. It's just monitoring patients. It's rather easy.
And what are you seeing with compliance for? Because I'll tell you, with our patients, we're seeing probably around 90-95% compliance.
It's tremendous.
We are.
Yep.
And probably above the 83% success. For the mild and snoring only patients, I would say 9 out of 10 are coming back happy.
When do you see them back, Brandon? Like, so let's say you put me on it.
Man, that's a great question for my team.
Okay. No, that's fair.
I want to say we see them back at 6 weeks.
Okay.
Is
So
that
they get
about the
6
appropriate
weeks.
follow-up?
I would always say 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Throw them on an HST. Let's
Yep.
make sure they're hitting the
Yeah.
sweet spot.
So 6 to 8 weeks, we do a follow-up HST
Yeah.
Cool.
to make sure, if they have an AHI of, say, 12, we want to see that has come down.
Yeah.
And now if they are snoring only, it's a really subjective
So
thing.
that you just took my thing.
Yeah.
So if we're, my big thing on
But
AHI.
but why don't we have a snore tracker? And why don't we have, like, and maybe I'm wrong, but, like, can the doctors that are prescribing this for their patients, or the dentists prescribing this for their patients, similar to AirView, log in and see the compliance or see that the patient's
Yes,
using
they
it?
have a portal.
Okay,
Yep,
so-
y'all have a portal
so we
that
have
you
that.
can see your patients.
Yep.
Why do they not have a snore monitor? I mean, just to be completely blunt, and I'll look right in the camera to my company, I don't think they respect it enough.
Okay.
I don't think they see it as like a silver bullet that is going to... But in my opinion, look, there was a major study done by Dr. Atul Malhotra, all right? He did 125,000 CPAP patients. 65,000 were on AirView with MyAir, which is a patient engagement, a snore monitor.
Yep.
60,000 were on just AirView. The 60,000 on AirView had a compliance of 70%. The 65,000 on AirView and MyAir had a 87% compliance rate.
Okay.
17% delta from adding them onto MyAir. Why? Because now the patient's engaged
patient's
in their
engaged.
therapy.
Big and
So
engaged.
if we had a snore monitor, not only is it showing your progress, but it's engaging your patients.
Yeah.
They just have this philosophy that a patient has to set up the app every night. They have to point it towards the bed and all this kind of stuff, and it's homework. I don't agree with
So
that.
I'm going to tell
I
you.
don't
So
agree.
I'm going
I'd wanted
to
a snore
act
monitor
like
right
I'm going to
now.
act like you guys hired me at Excite OSA.
Yep.
I'm selling the shit out of a snore monitor with this, and meaning I'm talking to you. I'm talking to whoever. Tell the patients to be on that, because I agree with that, and I disagree with your company's view.
Totally.
I agree with you.
Yep.
The more control, I'm big on this word. It's not a negative word, that you give the patient, the more they will succeed. We for some reason think that we have to baby it, take care of everything. We're looking at right now, because of COVID, especially because of COVID, that we could do more things at home, self-monitor. We just went to that conference. I agree with you. If Excite would have been there, could you imagine how many they would have sold?
A bunch.
Well, Matt, and I have a philosophy too, and I've said this forever and ever. When you have a patient who is educated on what's going on inside them, they're engaged in their therapy, you're going to have a compliant patient.
Yeah,
You're going to.
100%.
And I've always preached to my partners that if you're not educating your patients what's going on inside them, and you're not keeping them engaged in that therapy, they're not going to be compliant.
Agree.
They're not. They're just not.
The
So a snore monitor
the
engages
education
them.
part will help that motivation.
Yep.
And will help them stay. I agree. But Brandon asked a good question. I assumed that you guys had something with that, because I remember looking at the app that just showed me how long I stayed on.
Not
how
yet.
long
I've been
to
here
monitor.
18 months, 17 months begging for that. Not yet.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to get
Don't be
anybody in
bitter
trouble, but yeah.
about
A
it.
little bitter about it.
Yeah, that's
Little.
okay. They'd be a fool to get rid of you anyway. So.
They know I'm not happy with it. Yeah, they know
So-
that.
I'd hire him in a heartbeat.
So you said things are going well. Numbers are going up. More devices are getting used. More people are prescribing it. More people are using it. Awareness is going up. You guys got a great Instagram campaign.
Yep.
Check them out on Instagram. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know what they are. What are you on
And
Instagram?
LinkedIn.
Don't
and all
know.
that.
I'm not on Instagram.
Okay.
Don't know. LinkedIn.
I'm not either, but
Yeah.
there's.
I am. No, y'all have a
but you
great Instagram, Facebook.
It pops up. The Excite
Yep.
OSA
Yep.
people pop up all
Absolutely.
the time. And so things are going well, but you said it still feels like it's a big risk to you. What do you think? Where's the future here? What's the risk level? Are you feeling more comfortable? Are you still feeling like this is?
Well, he's mad right now. You got him all fired up.
No, I feel very excited. I think the global impact this product can have. I mean, just not America, the global impact. It's just we're a long way away.
Yeah.
And I think upper management thinks that it should be happening today because it's such an easy product to adhere to.
Yeah.
We're showing great results, what have you. But there's a lot of, look, I joined ResMed in 2013. ResMed was inception in the 80s. At 2013, ResMed was still a $30 stock.
Yeah.
Right? It took ResMed a long time to become the giants they are. And you just don't break into the sleep industry and a year later you're a giant.
Yeah.
You just aren't. And I think the expectations are here when reality is here. And I think that's the only risk right now that I see with this product is that management thinks we should be further than we are.
So what's on the horizon? What's upcoming for them, and how are we going to push this further?
Perfect the product,
Okay.
perfect it. It needs to be perfected. We need to know correct dosage, phenotyping. If I could come to you and say, hey, Dr. Hedgecock, do this kind of phenotyping and you'll know exactly who this is going to work for and who it's not, that'd be tremendous.
Oh, that'd be
tremendous. Because if you could say, look, I know for a fact it's your genioglossus, that's your root cause, this thing is going to be tremendous for you, or sorry, your tongue is in good shape, if what have you, you got to go either CPAP or more oral appliance.
Yeah.
So when we get there, that's going to be huge.
I have some
And that's
ideas.
coming.
One of the questions I thought, and I know we probably need to wrap up, but I just see such an opportunity for paralysis,
Yep.
for multiple sclerosis,
Yep.
I mean, when we first had the first episode, that was one of the things that really stuck with me, and maybe because I know people that have it. Is there any kind of studies being done with that right now?
I think we have a patent on a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. I think they want to do the sleep stuff first,
Okay.
and then go to there. My biggest thing with this, though, and they don't want to hear this, but this is the best device in the world for snoring. There's just no question about it. They don't want to get pigeonholed in that segment, though, because of reimbursement.
Yeah.
We need reimbursement. But for right now, with a cash pay, and that we're living in a cash pay industry,
Yep.
I mean, the segment of snoring is cash pay. There is nothing better in the market, especially because it's 100% money back guaranteed. So if this doesn't
that's
knock
something
out your
right there that
snoring,
we
if
need
this
to-
doesn't work, then we'll
Yeah.
try something else. But
Yeah.
if it does, you don't have to wear anything else. It's tremendous.
Yeah, but for snoring, you have to have some way to measure that.
Yep.
In order to
Like a snore
Yeah.
monitor.
Hey, I
like a
talked to my
snore monitor.
wife, and she said, "Hey, it's
yeah,
working."
you know,
I
but
know.
look, I love this product, and I think it's coming a long way, and I'm liking what we're seeing with patients. I agree with you. Nothing happens overnight in
No.
this industry,
Right.
but you guys are doing good work, and you're providing a good service to patients and a good alternative to a lot of patients. Oh,
It's all right. We'll cut it out.
Dan the man.
Dan's only moved that sign 4 times.
Yeah.
Since we've been here. Well, on that note,
So I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I would encourage you to continue, the hard fight, because
Yes.
I really do see benefits for my patients.
Yep.
And that's what at the end of the day, I could care less where the company goes. What I care about is that my patients are getting what they need
There
to
you
get
go.
taken care of. So,
Yep.
you know, keep up that, and thank you for what you do, and thank you for being a good friend of mine and a good friend of, you know, a lot of people in this industry over the years.
Yep.
Yeah, Matt, your name, and I'm not just saying it because it's Matt, your first and last name. You're just a good man, and you know, I can't thank you enough. I just wish there was more of you out there.
I feel the same with you guys. And look, I'm going to give you all some kudos too. Dr. Kerr, there's not many dentists that are saying, we'll introduce this to every mild patient who walks in the door because of the fear. You guys make more money on oral
We make more
appliances.
money on oral devices.
There's no secret behind
Yeah.
that. But
And
y'all
we
have
know
the
they work. We're comfortable.
Yeah, but y'all have the philosophy of, look, it's going to work out in the long run because more people are going to gravitate towards
Wait
the
a
MRD.
second. Did
It's
we just give credit to Max Kerr? 'Cause
absolutely.
I want to make sure
no,
that we did.
Max Kerr has been real. I love Dr.
So do
Kerr.
I. Yeah,
I love Dr. Kerr.
Max is the man.
He's phenomenal. Great guys. But Matt and Brandon, I mean, I love hanging with you guys. I love this space. I love this industry. I love the work that y'all are doing. What I really like about this group right here is we're not about our money or what have you. It's about patients. And all of us are very passionate about patients. And because of that, we have the success that we have. And it's like I tell my partners all the time, if you have a healthy patient, you have a healthy practice.
Well, apparently I need to be more passionate because I don't drive a nice truck like you.
No,
guys.
I think you're a pretty passionate dude.
And-
I
and
follow
on that-
you on LinkedIn.
And
You're a
on,
pretty
and on that
passionate dude.
point,
Cheers, fellas.
Matt, thank you for sleeping
Thank you.
around.
Thank you.
Dr. Brandon Matthew, you're the man.
You're the man. How can I be the man when you're the man?
How can I be the man?
When the sun goes down and the moon is high, we'll be chasing stars